Hi everyone, my name is Alyson Carson. I'm going to be talking about disciplinary actions in New Jersey. I live in Washington, but I couldn't find a lot there, so I went to New Jersey. So the most common cause for disciplinary action in New Jersey is actually pretty interesting. They require that if you're going to be working in a for-profit setting, that you are already licensed. You can't be being supervised still or working towards license, or you have to be licensed. So the vast majority of the complaints are that people are not licensed and they're working in for-profit settings. Some of the other ones are dual relationships. A counselor failed to appropriately terminate a client, or inappropriate conduct with students. Those are some of the other ones I found. So the case that I'm going to be talking about happened in 2017. This lady was counseling some minor children and then ended up evaluating them and providing her testimony or her opinion that the father should be the only one that has custody. So she ended up being complained against, and the board found that she was, she had a dual relationship. She was evaluating and counseling, which you're not supposed to do. She was acting beyond her scope of practice, and she didn't actually know how to do evaluations. She hadn't had the proper training for that. And then she also didn't maintain adequate records. So there were quite a few things that went into her not doing things correctly. So what they recommended and mandated was that they would appoint a supervisor, and she would have to be supervised for a year, because she actually hadn't had adequate supervision either once she had started practicing. The ACA Code of Ethics sections that apply to this case were A4A, where she's supposed to avoid harm. She could have potentially caused a lot of harm with that. A4B, imposing her personal values. She could have been doing that. A6D, you're supposed to have informed consent when there are role changes, although in this instance the role change was inappropriate anyway. B5B, collaborative relationships are required with parents. And she maybe had a collaborative relationship with the father, but not the mother. B6A, she needed to have appropriate documentation, which she did not. And then when it comes to the evaluation, E13B, you're not supposed to evaluate people who you also have a therapeutic relationship with. And then E13C is you don't evaluate clients, which is kind of the same thing. You also need written consent from parents according to E13B if you're going to be evaluating the situation, which you did not have. In the Washington Administrative Code, that's really the only thing I found that applies, which is you have to have a supervisory agreement and you have to have supervision when you first are going towards licensure, which she did not. So, like I said, I believe the board decided that she needed to have supervision by someone that they appointed, and then they would revisit it in a year. So when it comes to counselor impairment, the Code of Ethics, the ACA Code of Ethics, F5B talks about impairment, and they just say you don't offer services when you're impaired. You got to fix it, and if it's bad enough, you don't even offer any services till you've got it taken care of. And then the Washington Professional Counseling Association doesn't specifically address impairment, but they do talk about competency and how you need to be competent. And if you're impaired, you're obviously not going to be competent. My question is, if you sincerely believe that one parent should not have custody at all, what do you do? Because you can't provide evaluations.